Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Esther Gishuki. Welcome to Agri News. On today's top story, milk processors have identified a gap in the market and they are coming up with products that are targeting those who are lactose intolerant, a condition linked to the decreased ability to digest lactose, a sugar found in dairy products. On average, 65% of the global population are lactose intolerant. However, these new product innovations are allowing milk lovers to enjoy dairy products without discomfort.
Kenya's dairy sector is among the most advanced in the region, with a milk production capacity of over 70 million liters per month. Milk processors are now investing heavily to diversify product offering, the latest switch now being lactose-free milk to serve those allergic to milk.
Today, we roll out a new product in the region because we realized there was a gap. Close to 40% of our population are having challenges taking milk because they have inability to digest lactose, which is the sugar in milk. And because of that, we identified that as a leading dairy processor, we need to find a solution.
According to the government, such diversification in the market is a step in achieving food security, a key plank in the country's Big Four agenda.
I think it has also allowed diversification of the product range, and this is yet again another product in that great range of milk products that you all are familiar with. And not to mention the fact that it has made value addition possible.
We saw also KEBS and the Department of Livestock also taking action on some fake products that have been brought into the market illegally in Isili and other places. And I want to ask the Department of Livestock, the regulator, who I hope is represented here, the Dairy Board, and the KEBS to be steadfast in making sure that those products do not find their way into the market again.
The research and development team of New KCC showed that up to 40% of Kenya's population is suffering from lactose intolerance.
Pastoralist communities in Dikir Laisamis have embarked on the sale of raw gums and raisins as an alternative source of income, and in Voi Taita Taveta County, farmers have resorted to growing sunflowers as opposed to the traditional maize and beans, and here is why.
Farmers in Voi have dedicated their land to sunflower farming as an alternative crop. Reason? Elephants can't stand sunflowers. According to the farmers, sunflowers are a less palatable crop to elephants compared to maize and beans, which they have grown for years.
Hapo tulikuwa tunapanda mahindi na tunapanda kwa kweli, lakini tena anaondolewa yote mpaka tabaka patupu. Lakini alipoenda semina alituletea mawazo na akatuelezea kwamba sunflower haiharibiwi na ndovu, na kweli tumeona kuna ukweli.
Sunflower utavuna zile mbegu zake, una press, unatengeza mafuta, na zile residue ambazo zitakazobakia pia ni chakula ya ng'ombe na chakula pia ya kuku. Kwa hivyo hakuna kitu yenye unatupa kwa sunflower. Alafu ni kitu ingine ambayo ilinipendeza na sunflower ni kwamba badala licha ya kufukuza ndovu ama licha ya kwamba yani ndovu hawezi wakaharibu, pia si rahisi wakati maua yametoka hawa ndovu waingie, kwa sababu kuna nyuki, na mnajua nyuki na ndovu hawapatani.
And in Marsabit County, residents of Dikir village in Laisamis constituency have now found a reliable alternative source of income through sale of raw gum and resins extracted from locally available trees.
Badala ya kutegemea mifugo peke yake, na mifugo imekufa kiangazi inaua, lakini tukitegemea hii biashara, unaona kama kwa wiki unauza 500 times 10 ni 5,000. Hiyo inatosha gharama ya, na hiyo ni wiki.
With help from the Embassy of Sweden through Swedish International Development Agency, SIDA, the residents have now been able to come together and form a cooperative society which buys the products from locals and sell the same at a higher price.
It has been very interesting to see what you're doing here. Also seeing a bit of the gamma racing's activity that your cooperative is engaged in. My government, the government of Sweden, we are very proud of being also part of this engagement.
This awakening has been attributed to robust sensitization of the locals on the need to stop cutting trees for charcoal burning and instead conserve them and subsequently earn from the sale of garment resins. Rebecca Mulure, KTN News.
Kenya is one of the countries in East Africa with the largest donkey population at approximately 1.8 million. This number is decreasing due to the trade of donkey skin and cross-border smuggling of donkeys into Kenya. The Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, in collaboration with Brook East Africa, hosted a donkey skin trade conference on 26th and 27th November to facilitate awareness on the impacts of donkey skin trade and solutions that will provide an entry point for banning the trade of donkeys in the region. Our reporter, Margaret Wairimu, attended the event and compiled the following report.
The theme of 2019 Donkey Skin Trade Conference was Donkey Better Alive Than Dead. This two-day event, organized by the Intergovernmental Authority on Development IGAD and Brook East Africa, aimed to drive the ban on trade of donkey skin and slaughter of donkeys across Africa. The conference was convened to facilitate dialogue and debate on the short-term and long-term impacts on donkey skin trade to owners and nations, resulting in resolutions and recommendations on the banning of the trade.
It's a crisis here in Kenya, and we're focusing and prioritising bringing about a ban to the trade, to the export of donkey skins and associated products, and also the issues of cross-border smuggling, which I'm sure you'll hear more about today.
While countries like Botswana, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Ethiopia and Tanzania have in the recent past banned slaughter of donkeys, Kenya, in contrast, has licensed donkey slaughterhouses to meet the growing demand of the animal products.
One of the things we wanted to do is to actually do an oversight, visit these communities, because seeing is believing. You know, you can say all the figures that you want, but if you don't really see it on the ground, it is hard to kind of like take it on board and make a decision.
China is the largest importer of donkeys to make a product known as ejiao, used in foods, drinks and beauty products. This product is expensive and does not justify the cost to skin trade and slaughtering of these animals to make the product.
It's danger. How many of us here can afford? On a quick math, I did. Previously, donkeys were from zero because we could have like two and you share with your relative or your neighbor a donkey for free. The cost now is, on average, is about 10,000. A mature donkey skin, we are told it can produce 1.5 kgs of injao. And at the end of the day, you have your donkey back and you get money. When we take all the donkeys from 15 to 2 and we killing our people silently in the interest of beauty, I must call it that.
If not curbed and banned, the donkey hide trade could result in increased levels of poverty, vulnerability to shocks, and marginalization of already deprived populations and disadvantaged groups such as women, children, and the elderly people. For KTN Farmers TV, I'm Margaret Wairimu.
The biggest hurdle to increasing farmer productivity in Africa today is the continued use of outdated production technologies and practices. There is need to significantly increase the world's food production by 2050. With limited amount of additional arable land and water levels receding, Microsoft believes that data coupled with a farmer's knowledge and intuition about their farms can help increase farm productivity and also help reduce costs. Our reporter, Margaret Wairimu, with more.
The agriculture industry is facing a monumental challenge of feeding a growing population while preserving scarce resources. To cope with the rising demand in a sustainable way, it is imperative for every industry player to embrace the opportunities offered by today's technology advances. Microsoft is working with the government of Kenya and all agricultural players to digitize farming to grow the sector.
One of our biggest interests in Kenya is to partner with the government and the ecosystem and the academia and all the players to make sure that we can digitalize agriculture, to make sure that we provide jobs to majority of the population in the country, but at the same time we have a positive impact in our GDP, and we're able to create a sustainable economy that can have an impact beyond Africa. It's the ability for a farmer to understand whatever they are harvesting, what is the price and what will happen, if they will have the demand or not. The worst thing that can happen to a farmer is they invest a lot of time, and then when it goes to a co-op, when it goes to deliver, they say, no, we don't need that. And then you lose all the effort that you did. The best thing is to have those systems that today are available that enable to say, based on what you see, plus the weather, plus the offer demand of the market, for this that you're doing, this is what you're gonna get, therefore you can take decisions in a proactive way.
The digital transformation by Microsoft aims at connecting all the value chains in the agricultural sector, from farmers to distribution and far-wide markets.
Kenya has a unique opportunity because when you look the barriers to bring technology to the farmers, you want to connect the farming, you want to connect the whole value chain, and you want to connect even to the end final customer that may be in Africa or may be abroad Africa. There are many other companies that we have worked, like Sun Culture, that enable to use this technology and provide irrigation in places that there was no energy, there was no connectivity. But now they bring to solar panel, leveraging this technology, the ability to provide that to a farmer. Now, a farmer doesn't need to have a specific fancy device, can have a feature phone, or can have a smartphone, or can have just the system that works and being operated in a remote place.
When you look at sort of the innovation in Kenya, it's definitely there, right? So but the ability to sort of now be able to create the end-to-end solution is the one that we're working on, especially with governments, to make sure that the policies are in place, that the innovation ecosystem is there. But then once you have sort of that platform that can speak to the different solutions that are being built, how do we give government an overview, visibility on the data, but also allow them to now be able to make the right decisions at the right time.
The Kenyan agricultural industry must embrace the new wave of technological innovation. Hence, Microsoft is highly engaged in making agriculture interesting, efficient, and a good income generator to all farmers and the youth.
It's very challenging to tell a farmer who has been doing that for 40, 50 years to start using technology, so we have to make it very simple for them. And that's something we're working really hard. From a simple feature phone to working with extension people that may have the technology and the knowledge to go and access those farmers. That's the first thing. Be able to enable them to take better decisions and be able to have more security in their job.
How do we actually then make utilization of that? And that is then based on the youth, right? That ones that are digitally born, that ones that actually use it day to day. And that comes with sort of one, skilling people. And part of our commitment is to be able to train interns, place them in government, but also in partners that are focused on ag, and then be able to sort of give them the tools and the know-how to then be able to drive and create the chain effect to be able to make it a sustainable change and not a one-off engagement.
Microsoft's agenda is to foster a culture of innovation by making it easier for people to connect, share information, and work together across organizational and geographical boundaries. For KTN Farmers TV, I'm Margaret Muiruri.
Up next is a roundup of agricultural stories that are making headlines in other parts of the world.
Maureen Mugaga is one of Uganda's many smallholder farmers growing coffee. The 38-year-old has been cultivating the crop for the last 17 years. But, like others, she says her earnings have significantly dropped in recent times due to changing weather patterns partly linked to climate change and a fall in the global market price.
Coffee farming used to help families find livelihood. It was village business. It provided salt, paraffin and even school fees. It was very reliable in the past, but not as much today. In the past, it was very valuable to grow coffee. Coffee-growing families were very wealthy.
Uganda is Africa's largest coffee exporter, followed by Ethiopia. The produce, long the country's single biggest commodity export, has since been overtaken by gold. The government is now pursuing a planting program to drive up exports, giving farmers free seeds to expand acreage and replace aging, unproductive trees. It's also tabled a bill to regulate coffee in the country and improve production. Under the legislation, farmers will need to register with the local coffee authority to improve planning and traceability of the commodity.
The Western consumers, especially the sophisticated, are becoming quite particular. They want to know that this coffee we are consuming is not being produced by child labor. They want to know that it is not being produced by using harmful chemicals. They want to know that this coffee is not being grown by destroying the environment.
But farmers like Maureen fear greater regulation will interfere with their business and leave them worse off. And some experts are concerned about the proposed penalties for those farmers who violate the new law, including a 2-year sentence or a stipulated fine. The government says it's important to regulate Uganda's coffee chain and boost exports.
Greenpeace and its partner are marching to ask the government, the DRC government, all the donors, all the countries that will be meeting in Spain for the conference of the party to make sure that they are talking about protecting the forest in the DRC.
We are working about our agreements and about the changement of the environment. Yes.
On today's Sauti ya Mkulima, we feature dairy farmers from Nyandarua and Kiambu counties who share with us the importance of keeping farm records.
We measure milk of each cow every day, every milking time. So we have the milking journals, where every time you milk a cow, we have a weighing scale where we put up the milk and we measure the kilograms as per that milking time. So we fill it at the books. We have a journal book where we fill, and also on the smart cow application where we feed with we get information from the smart cow application. So those are the two modules I use on records. So the benefits of the records that we started, we have no records. At least for now, we can be able to monitor each and every cow and its production because of the feeding. So every time there is an influx of the milk, we realize where the problem, where there need changes, and so the recording helps us to keep the cows track on milk produce. So and the feeding. So those are the benefits we get from the records.
Record ambazo huwa naweka record ya daily production ya ng'ombe. Kila ng'ombe. Hii naona asubuhi nilipima kiasi gani, mchana na jioni. Sasa na jumulisha. Naona sasa hii ng'ombe imeendelea vizuri ama iko chini. na nikiona umepungua sasa, na jaribu kuangalia ni nini hasa kimefanya ipungue. Hiyo ni record, daily record ya production ya maziwa. Pia kuna magonjwa kama imekuwa treated naweka kwa record. Naangalia na naandika ni nini, ugonjwa gani na ilitibiwa na nini. Pia kuzaliwa. Ndama inapozaliwa naiweka kwa record. Ilizaliwa ikiwa na which weight? Weight gani? 40, 50, 20, like that. Alafu sasa naendelea nikipima. Kitu kingine naweka record ni deworming. Huwa naweka record wakati ni deworm, after 3 months tena na deworm, na huwa nabadilisha dawa za kudeworm.
Now let's take a look at how different agricultural commodities are performing in different markets across the country. Now, it's just about that time where we sample feedback from you, and we'll start off with the first one. The first one says, how can I get the purple kale seed? I've been glad to watch this in your Farmers TV. That is by Joseph Jenga, an agronomist. Thank you, Joseph, for tuning into KTN Farmers TV and for sending in your feedback. You can get the purple kale seed variety at Hydrotech Farm based in Naivasha. We also have somebody else who says, hello KTN Farmers TV. I'm Kenneth, a student at Egerton, Njoro. Thanks for providing knowledge to the Kenyan farmers, and I wish you can bring an article on sericulture, that is silkworm farming, as it is the newest domesticated animal. Thank you so much for sending in your feedback. We will definitely put that into consideration and bring you an entire series on how to start sericulture. We also have somebody else who says, ningependa kuwa mkulima wa kuku wa kienyeji, nitapata wapi kuku wa kuanzia na ni vipi nitapata cages? Asante. Asante kwa huo ujumbe pia. You can get, when you want to venture into kienyeji poultry farming, there are a couple of things that you need to consider. The first one is you need to properly understand the breed. From your SMS, I get that you want to do kienyeji. So properly understand the breed and properly understand the type of production that you want to carry out, and then make a plan. For instance, when it comes to kienyeji, you need to have various equipment, you need to have housing, feeding. Do you have all this in place? And then also visit an extension officer who can localize that information from you. They can even direct you on which cages you can buy, and also where you can get the best kuku wa kuanzia for that. So this is just a sample of the feedback that we have been receiving from you. Keep the conversation going on our social media platforms, that is at Farm Kenya 254, and also on our SMS line on your screen. I'm Esther Gishuki. Thank you so much for joining us on today's bulletin. And as we wind up, let's have a look at the weather forecast.